Hello world, welcome to the 151st climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is, October 29th, hard to believe, 2021. Next week will be the 152nd climate change emergency protest in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. That'll be on November 5th. After this talk, I'm going up to a climate change emergency protest corner here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. That's the corner of York Street and the square in Gettysburg. Feel free to use it at your leisure. There is no charge, believe it or not, in this capitalistic economy. So the COP26 meeting is about to start. It's a worldwide meeting that no one even knows about for the most part. That's on October 31st, and it goes until November 12th. It is the most important event in human history, and it is going largely unnoticed everywhere except by BBC Radio. It's not covered, no one's talking about it, and it's a fool's errand the world is on right now by not getting to it and discussing such things as climate change daily, if not hourly, if not minute by minute. This conference will determine the path as to whether we can mitigate climate change. We can't stop it right now. It's a huge inertia train going down the tracks, and all we can do is slow it down. But you have to start doing something, otherwise nothing gets done at all. So this will be either a large success, this meeting coming up, or it's going to be a dismal failure, relegating humanity and all life on Earth to catastrophic suffering. So it's kind of a big deal. Now, why is this so important, though? What it is not only they need to get to it in action concerning climate change, but also that they probably won't get together for another year, if not longer, and be serious about climate change. This is it. We don't have a year to give away. We don't have 5 minutes to give away. There is no carbon budget. These dramatic actions happening around the world, fires, flood, and whatnot, are a result of climate change, and waiting another year will be absolutely catastrophic. And that's assuming they'd even do anything in another year. Governments, if they don't do anything now, the governments will be under no pressure for another year to do anything concerning climate change. Oh yeah, they'll give lip service saying by 2030, 2050, 2060, we'll cut our emissions in half, but there's no action being done concerning that. We need countries to have national goals and actually actions concerning climate change, not promises at this point. Now, the problems with the COP26 coming up, this international meeting sponsored by the United Nations, is that the president of this whole meeting, this meeting that's supposed to stop fossil fuel emissions, has actually received 10,000 pounds in British money from a global conglomerate, and they're associated with pipeline drilling and gas drilling, and they're also associated loosely with ExxonMobil. So this is a conflict of interest. He got two payments in 2017 and 2020, adding to 10,000 pounds. So how can you have an impartial person? And that's last year he got a payment. So how can you have an impartial person? And it just gives off a bad smell at the very least, and if not total collusion and murderous path the governments are on. So that's one of the problems. The USA also, they're trying to establish themselves as leader in climate change, in the battle against climate change. And meanwhile, the Biden administration, the President of the United States, has issued at least 2,400 permits for drilling since January 20th. They authorized the Willow Project, which is in Alaska. That's going to produce over 1 billion barrels of oil over 30 years. And now recently, they're going to auction off 80 million acres in the Gulf of Mexico for drilling and gas exploration. Hold on. As you can tell, we're not going to change our ways here in the United States. So the Biden administration will lease off 80 million acres in the Gulf of Mexico for drilling and oil and gas. And that's on November 17th. That is 5 days after the COP26 conference ends. This is deliberate, what's going on here. They're going to go over there, act like they're doing something. And I wish everyone would look this up and realize that the United States is full of it. And that's on November 17th. They're going to have this auction. Now you have the United Kingdom. They're going to do a thing called the Cumbria coal mine, and they're saying it's going to provide hundreds of jobs, but what it will do in the long run is kill millions of people. There's no reason to build a new coal mine at this point. They're also building a third runway at Heathrow Airport. If anything, they should go down to one runway so it cuts down on the jet traffic. Norway is, they're planning on having 100% electric car sales in Norway starting now. And yet they're still drilling in the North Sea, the Barents Sea, and they're talking about exploration of the Arctic Ocean, Arctic area for more drilling. Russia built a gas pipeline from themselves to Germany, so Germany obviously is not intent on getting off of fossil fuels when you're adding more and more gas to your situation. Natural gas is not natural gas, it is methane. It is one of the worst planetary greenhouse gases out there. India is also building new coal plants. China is also building new coal plants, getting in a theme here. They're also talking in action of building the new Silk Road, which is from Asia through the Middle East over to Europe and encompasses part of Africa in this whole plan. There's also the maritime Silk Road, which is from China to India, Indonesia, Africa. So these are ecological disasters, what they're planning. Australia has done now a third coal mine expansion in the last month. They're exporting coal to India, South Korea, and Japan. China, also for this conference, the leader of China, Xi, will not be at the conference. So already the second biggest or the largest emitter of carbon dioxide won't be at the conference. There is no carbon budget. So all these actions that we've seen around the world happening, these deluges and droughts and fires, are a result of climate change. And there is no carbon budget at this point. There won't ever be a carbon budget because once you emit carbon dioxide, every time you start your car and drive down the road, those carbon molecules can stay in the atmosphere hundreds of years before they break down. So what do people need to do during this next 2 weeks? Protest. That's the biggest thing you can do. I'm going up to the corner, stand by myself, or maybe a wife will join me, and going to protest, and I have a placard here. And I stand there and I try to inform people as to what's going on. Another thing you can do is broadcast. A lot of these college kids or high school kids are very savvy with broadcasting on the internet. You need to broadcast your displeasure, telling the governments of the world that you are not putting up with this, even though we are. Need to call out the media. Anytime you see a news reporter, or feel free to call your newspaper or radio station or television station. Ask them why they're not covering climate change worldwide. The only one's doing it right now is the BBC Radio, and that's only because the event, the COP26 conference, will be in Glasgow, Scotland. What we need right now is a worldwide protest. We need people to get on the streets and actually protest and show the governments that they're not going to stand for it. People don't even know there's a problem right now. How can you convince people to get out on the street if they don't even know there's a problem? This whole thing going on, this lack of knowledge is just astounding to me. Politicians need to make a daily, if not a daily case about climate change and go on the internet just like they do about coronavirus and inform the public how dire the situation is. That's why people don't know what's going on. The media will follow if the politicians talk about it, and they're not talking about it. So money rules around the world. We're on a murderous path right now. We're absolutely committing murder of the people of the world. And the governments still keep going on, and the people are in collusion with it by allowing this to occur, either through ignorance or de facto just knowledge and not doing anything. Our party will handle it and everything will be taken care of. Well, it's not happening. This is it. This last 2 weeks that we can actually do something significant concerning climate change. We're risking migration in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of people. Social unrest is a big risk. Governmental collapse. When that happens, you get gang rule, you get countries collapsing, and that sounds all well and good, but some countries have nuclear weapons, and what do you think will happen when the crazy people get a hold of the nuclear weapons? You risk drought, fires, floods, famine, water shortages, hurricanes that could end up being a Category 6. There is no good news with this. I'm sorry, you can't report any good news when this is going down the proverbial toilet right this second. There's also nuclear facilities. There are over 250 of them. Hold on. There are around 250 nuclear facilities around the world. If these scientists' families are sick or dying or whatever, or in trouble, they're going to stay with them, not go to the nuclear facility. So there's a risk of meltdown at that point. The forests have become, the rainforest and everything are in danger of becoming and have become emitters of carbon dioxide, not a carbon sink, not a store of carbon dioxide. We're risking ocean stagnation. And then what happens with that is you get hydrogen sulfide gas of rotting sea life and just stagnation in general. And that's what they believe, or some believe, that the Permian mass extinction could have been caused by hydrogen sulfide gases. It's lethal to mammals. Some reptilians can survive it briefly. So also what happens with a lack of action is the world's permafrost can melt, or thaw rather. And that has gigatons of methane and carbon dioxide within it. That's a result of organic material that had once been alive and rotted and decomposed into the soil, and now all those gases will come out. Also, your risk of the Arctic Ocean melting, the methane clathrates in the bottom of the Arctic Ocean and the 4 Russian seas, the shallow seas, have a great risk of having methane clathrates melting and shooting methane into the atmosphere as well. Methane is a greenhouse gas that is 2 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than is carbon dioxide in its first 2 years. So right now the carbon dioxide level is higher than the Pliocene era, and back then the oceans were 80 feet higher, and also the atmosphere was at 3 degrees warmer than now. Right now we're at a 415 average, somewhere parts per million of carbon dioxide, and if you factor in methane and nitrous oxide, where the equivalency is somewhere around 600 to 700 parts per million. Only 280 is the safe zone and below for parts per million. So we're equivalency of 600 to 700, and 280 is the safe zone. Once you get above 280, you end up with feedback loops. One feedback loop can lead to other feedback loops. It ends up being a cataclysm, as far as everything goes. Right now there are over 60 feedback loops going on throughout the world, and so one is bad enough to cause other issues. 60 is devastating. So I'm asking you to please protest. At the least broadcast, do something. These are the final 2 weeks basically, and then the window of opportunity will be sealed shut. We won't get this chance again. This is the COP26 meeting, and it's not coming around again. We got to be honest with ourselves and realize that what we're doing is witnessing our very end, the way we're going. This will pass quickly, these two weeks, and then it'll be gone, and then that moment of opportunity is lost as well. Hold on. So this is a pivotal moment in history of humanity, and also life on Earth. So please tell your friends and family to get educated quickly and start protesting, and do whatever you can to make your voice known to the politicians of the world. Not knowing what's going on is kind of your fault. You watch these things, you guys should be really upset by it, and there's enough information out there concerning climate change. So it is the fault of every citizen in the world not getting out and doing more. And this is kind of like the Pink Floyd song where no one told you when to run, you missed the starting gun, and boom boom, the starting gun already fired, and you're still stuck on the starting line. So there is such a thing as being, it's called being too late. They're always saying, we have plenty of time, we can get to it, we have 8 years. You don't have 8 years. This is it. This is the final 2 weeks that we have a chance to change things for the better. And at that point, it's just trying to it becomes an issue of survival. So I'll see you next week. I wish I had better news for you, but I don't, and everyone needs to wake up. Next week will be November 5th. That'll be Climate Change Emergency Protest number 152. Bye.